أهلا وسهلا.
Thank you so much for your presence and thanks for the invitation. إنه لمن دواء سرور. How can you know that for one of you? How do you know that an old friend from the past? How can have like old pictures or photos for you in the past for them? And now he put in like I was 3 years old in my photo, and I was quite. No, no, somebody just like does not look like me. We just showing that I'm part of the knowledge summit. It's an honor. And
يعطيكم ألف ألف عافية، وبعرف إنه هلا النهار صار.
thank you. Now I know it's at the end of the day. Please focus with me. I know it's something useful and.
شر ما شاء الله، والله يبارك. إن شاء الله بنضل نعد سوا 20 و30 و40 إن شاء الله.
Looking forward for the 30th and the 10th hour today about the strongest points in of the human being. I will say it in Arabic, and if somebody just you can just ask. I have studied biology and breast cancer metastasis. How the breast cancer can be transferred. So I am a biologist, as they can call me. I'm a biologist. I'm a biologist. And since I am a biologist, let's talk business about the traits or characteristics of a human being. The human being is just like a species. He's a living species. Of course, he's a living species, and all living species, and biological wise, just have classifications or categorizations, right? What do we mean by classifications? So this one swims in this, somebody flies. This one has traits or characteristic, and so on. Let's look at the photo. We have insects. We have just some. Please focus. What is the difference between the bee and the mosquito? And the bee and the mosquito. Yeah, the bee and the mosquito. Is it in the UA? It's we call it mosquito. What is the difference between the bee and the mosquito in terms of classification? The bee is productive, and it's just like we need the characteristics or the traits of each one. One is productive, and the other one is destructive. So we need to know about the character. Who can answer this question? Oh, the mosquito can cause diseases, right? Which means your answers are quite philosophical when but it's not to the point. The bee, where does the bee live? Exactly in a beehive. We say we call it a social insect. Like it's just like a sociable living around, surrounded by hives, and just surrounded by guards, and there is a community for bees. As for the mosquito, on the other side, does not have a community where they can live. Individual, it lives individual. They just gather wherever there are food, and once the food is gone, this is the main categorization or classification between the two insects. So now you are becoming a biologist. The human being looks like and is living like. Okay, does the human being look like a bee or a mosquito? The bee. So our biological classification for the human being, the human being is just a sociable living in a society, interacts with the society, belonging. He has a sense. They need family, friends, a nation, something to work under the umbrella. Otherwise, they will not be able to live, and that's why we feeling sometimes like it's not our nature to live on our own by ourselves, but because of the human being. And let's try to be more philosophical or sophisticated. Man or human being generates like things or, or a life that does not look like. One of the things that the increases a lot is how much the human being is a sociable living. But the human being is just is human social person. It's a biological term or a concept. How the mosquito as an individual and how the bee is a sociable person and the human being is a sociable person, a sociable, because we have calls on the contemporary world that we asking us to be like mosquitoes. But to be more accurate, we have to be more bees rather than mosquitoes. So, what for the biology, these species, what are their weapons? How can they defend themselves when the frog can color itself like the background? How can we camouflage? Like this is how the species defend themselves from against any attack. Right? These are which is the biological way to ensure the safety of these species or this insect from since millions of years. The shell, the bone. Here is what are their weapon, the horns, and about the snake. What is the weapon? Is just poison. Is its weapon? I'm talking about the real life snakes. About the eagle, they fly and they have beaks. About the leopard, they are fast. These one, how can they? When something attacks him, they produce a smell or a bad smell, and so all species on the earth have their own weapons or tools to defend themselves and to achieve something. Is it possible for a human being has to make a camouflage? Is it the weapon used by the human being, or just to wear a shield to defend? What is the human being's the weapon? The mind. Everything I'm saying should have a context behind. That human being lives is surrounded by or in a community of people producing knowledge and protecting and catches and builds the weapon for the only weapon for the human being that protecting him till now that they can live with just inside the community. This is the biological weapon of the human being, that he can live inside a community, interacting with a group of people, and his or their knowledge moving from whether horizontally, as I'm saying, or vertically through generations. So the knowledge I'm telling you is not coming horizontally, but there is an accumulation or sequence of accumulations. And the weapon of the human being's weapon now is its capability to move or to transfer this knowledge in a collective way. This is the human being's weapon, and that's why we can build bridges. I was working on a fountain yesterday, and I just want to convey this message with this idea. So please have a look at the picture. It's something unbelievable. I have lived in Dubai for 10 years, and now there is a dancing fountain, something, hard to imagine, dancing and music. It's and but you can never achieve things except especially big things unless there is a collective work for a shared vision to protect as a group, belonging as a community, and so on. Is that clear? This is what produces individual and collective knowledge as well. Is that okay? Is that clear? However, if this the producing knowledge and transfer of knowledge just is can work on itself, or there is something embedding in us, making us more, moving us or pushing us to achieve knowledge. Something optional, whether if I have something to learn or not to learn. It's just the essential motives of the human being to learn or not to learn. So there are four motives, essential motives for the human beings. Four motives. The first one of which is as just like horse or four horses pushing the human being, or drive the four drivers moving the human being. The first horse is what are the motives for people. The first one, the
هي الانستنكت سرفايفل.
وهي حب البقاء وتأتي coming is the instinct. What are the main drivers of human beings? What moves or pushes the human beings? Fear, sense of fear. Feelings are the end or the outcome of people dealing with the reality. Sense of belonging, which is. Let's start with the four drivers first, because the first one is the drive to acquire. To acquire or to possess something. So once the baby is born from his mom's, just like as an insect, just he touches things and put them in his mouth. What this is mine. So they think about why my brother is having more things. So we are pushed to possess or to acquire things like to be mine. And this is a great and big motive, and to acquire something is more than I do right now, and more than immediate surroundings. Which means, for example, if Elon Musk's shares has increased and his fortune increased $5 billion per day, can you feel the increase of the $5 billion? Will you feel it? I don't think so. Most people. Elon Musk has become rich and he's getting more. But if your cousin has got a better or a more expensive car, or your work colleague or so on, this is the motive, is to acquire more than now, and my immediate surrounding. That's why, it says in the Quran. It's a holy verse in Quran. It's just you are getting greedy because till you go to the graveyard. It's a holy verse in the Quran. If the human being acquires something, so the first motive is to acquire. How about the second drive or the second motive? It's the opposite of acquiring. Giving. It's totally the opposite. The drive of الغريب.
الإنسان مدفوع.
Human being is pushed to defend. Once you challenge him or something for him, you will find his energy up to the max, and he starts being defensive for his right. So there's the drive to try to tell you any mom that your son is not good looking or handsome or is not smart enough. So you will find her. She will. So we are defending our nations, our rights, our people, our beloved ones, our nation, our rights, our property. It's the knife. The war, by the way, are just between people driven to acquire and the people driven to defend. The third one is the drive to bond, to belong. We have a drive that we feel ourselves acceptable in our community, belonging to something. Just that's why we strive to have kids, to build families, to belong to companies, to belong to nations, to belong to religion, and to belong to tribes in a way or other. We strive. So drive is belonging is a drive. So that I can feel part of a group. So who can get the fourth on the last drive? It's just survival. Is just something like defending yourself, defending your life. Is it sense of appreciation and acquire? When you acquire has a status and the material one. What is the fourth driver now? What is the knowledge summit? What is the title of the summit now? It's knowledge now. So the fourth driver is to know. A human being is pushed to know. That's why the 3 or 4 year old child may start asking and start being inquisitive, and start asking WH questions: who, how, where. Like my son, he asked me, why do we have 5 fingers, not 7 fingers? So we have a drive to know. From the beginning of our awareness, we have a drive to know, to inquire the individual's awareness and the human being's awareness. A long time ago, human being thinks about what's after death. A long time ago, we are thinking about science. How can we fly? Why is this thing happening and why this is not? So there is a drive within ourselves, inside the people, to know and to inquire about something and to be inquisitive, which means that the knowledge or asking for knowledge is a function that's something innate in human being. It's not a best buy. It's not an emotional one. Emotions come when we have an active drive, but the reality does not respond to it. So I would like to acquire, to own a car, but I'm a poor person. It's a negative emotion now. I want to establish a family, to build a family, and I have to go to, it's a divorce. It's a negative emotion. So when I have a drive, but the reality conflicts me, so it's a negative emotion. So I would like to possess a car, or the emotion a car. I own a car now. It's a positive emotion. So motives are tools whether to make people disappointed or a positive way. So let's go marketing. Let's talk marketing about the advertisements or propaganda for just like activating any one of the motives to acquire the golden visa in Dubai. You have to buy a property with a similar. That's why the horse for acquiring. I wanted the golden visa in Dubai, in the UAE. So let me acquire a property so that through which I can get a golden visa. Before becoming an author, I used to work as a general manager for a pharmaceutical company for vaccines. we didn't work for COVID or pediatric and or flu vaccines for Hajj or pilgrim. What is the most successful campaign? The most successful campaign, just when you tell your mom, protect your son or your child from. So you're activating to defend her child. What is the most important advertisement to defend? Just like to market defense for Dettol, for example. Because I'm just saying a child. I need to put my son in the green zone. So I put just like spray some Dettol so that I can put my son in the green zone. That's how I equation or the drive to bond. What is the difference between Pepsi and Coca-Cola in marketing? Which one is the symbol of Pepsi? Which one is the symbol of? You don't Messi, Amr Diab in the Arab world are they representing Pepsi. To make big public figures,
عشان
to attract people to drink Pepsi. If you attend the new season of The Voice program, celebrities project Pepsi on Shahid. The Pepsi is the so
in the same place. ليه؟ لأنه كوك
can because Coke is working on the bonds. The Coca-Cola is advertisement just like on Thanksgiving, on sharing. I found a Coke truck. I came across a Coke truck where there is a slogan, share a Coke, and on the truck there were some names. They play on the drive of Bond Drive. And the Coke and the drive is for Great Arab Minds, which got the Nobel Award. Scientists are driven by which horse? The drivers, the horse, not to know. The first one will go for the. What is the biggest mistake we can detect in the first 3 seconds? And the doctor said, I will activate the drive is to know. I want to know what is the biggest mistake made by the human being. So now I'm just trying to arouse your feelings, your curiosity now. And such things are not in sequence or sequence order. Every time there is a driving horse, if there is a stronger horses, so there will be imbalance. That's why men or women are driven to acquire. They might also divorce or destroy their relationship because there is a horse winning in the race. So the good thing is to make the 4 horses walking together in the same time concurrently. So over the time, do we still have time? Do you still have time? Okay, if you feel bored, just let me know. But officially, if I still have 20 minutes, my mom is just smoking hubbly bubbly. Who is smoking hubbly bubbly here? Please raise your hand. The best thing, a moment in her life, for her and for mom. My mom is Shahinaz, with Fatma, Samar, and Zakiya Namr, her sister. Amal is an addict. It does not. They are the 4. She had make a big kitchen where she sits surrounded by the 4 sisters, and the cook cooks with for the 5 ladies, and they are chatting about to each other, and my aunt Fatma is talking about Uncle Adnan and such type of a chat. If you ask the 4 ladies, They will tell you these moments are the best moments in our lifetime. Can somebody tell me why these moments are the best? Because sharing knowledge, because they are sharing knowledge. There, there is a drive, an active drive. They have a drive to bond together. So this drive is active, and the reality responds to this drive. That's why they feel happy well when talking or chatting to each other. My aunt Fatma has a daughter called Dina in 1985 or 86. She put me in the salon. She beat me. She beat me on my legs, and Fatma and Shahinaz, my mom and her mom did not talk to each other for 3 months. So can somebody tell me on a scientific way what happened? So the bond was here on that case, but so for the drive defense became to the peak now. So the bond broke between the two sisters now. So they interplay or overlap together as for the for the relationship. We keep trying about in information asymmetry, imbalance of knowledge, unavailability between two sides or two parties. So I want to know how I was injured, so I need to know the medication. I go to the doctor. I give him money to give me the medication. So the knowledge it applies the same to the businessman, to the lawyer. So a human being is just like pushed to bridge a gap between himself and the surrounding environment. And this is what we call asking for knowledge, as Nizar Qabbani, when he says, "Your love taught me, my lady. He taught me the worst habit, to open my cup 1,000 times a night, and to try the medicine, and also to knock at the door of because I'm seeking knowledge at the future tellers or fortune tellers." I was sitting in a cafe in Lebanon, and I have a young man working as a private equity in Dubai. He said, "Doctor, I found out in discovery. After dinner, I will tell you about." After we finished our dinner, we asked for coffee, and we drank coffee. So he put the cup upside down, and he got a picture, and he sent it to the Chat GPT, and asked the Chat GPT about the readings of the upside. The risk now of seeking knowledge without value system is quite risky. It's quite dangerous. What determines the criteria of knowledge, and why I'm asking for a certain knowledge, and what is the purpose or goal behind the knowledge, and where I can get the source of knowledge, because the drive to know is always activated. The story of how can we respond, and it requires a high value system and a hierarchy of values to put values in a different way. This is what this conversation is doing between the two people.
عندي بلبنان
in in Lebanon, we have an education center in which during summer we have a summer camp. We bring teenagers and they deal with the kids. So at the end of the summer, I invite them over dinner to celebrate them. So I'm sitting with them at the restaurant. And I asked, and they are 16 to 17 years old, what do you like? Pasta, fries, and one young man, what would you like to eat? He's looking at his phone, a chicken burger. I thought that he scanned the code. And I told him, what did you do? He said, I asked ChatGPT what I should have. You asked ChatGPT, what would you rather have? Yes. Why? He knows what I like. And he knows what this place is selling and offering. So I asked him, I would like a chicken burger. I asked him and he told me chicken burger. The danger and the risk of knowledge tools and means that they require a lot of accuracy and awareness. Is it clear? And these conversations, they all enable us to spread the awareness, because knowledge seeking or knowledge is innate by nature, right? There's another thing that is innate. And look how beautiful this is.
فهمتوا شو صار؟
Did you get what happened here, or should I repeat it? Should I replay it? How should I go back?
الولد عمره
This kid is 18 months old, no more, 18 months. He's trying to put his stuff in the closet, and look. She walked. What did she really do here? They help us here to analyze things a bit more. She knew that this person, who's not me, has an issue. And he's trying to put the books in the closet. So he has a problem. Even if I have nothing to do with it. And she knew that she has the ability, the knowledge, that she can solve his issue. So she came close. She provided him with the knowledge. Look, in order to put your stuff in the closet, you have to do something, a step prior to that, opening the closet. This is by the 18 months old. When people start to separate having a personality. Because when people are born, they don't get that their mother's another being. Me and mom are one. And that's why they're surprised when they cry that she isn't crying, because we're supposed to be one. By 18 months to 2 years old, what happens here? People start understanding, they develop that I have emotions and desires, and the other is another being with emotions and desires. And that's why in the Quran it says, there's a verse that has to do with people start to separate, to disconnect, or not disconnect, or rather to being set up by 2 years old. I used to think that it had to do only with breastfeeding, but it's rather a divine knowledge, that knowledge is innate to acquire, and as well as it's innate to be shared. It's innate in us to share that knowledge with others. Is it clear? Clear. Crystal. Awesome. Which leads or opens up for societies massive spaces of development, of meeting up, and accomplishments, and all of those buzzwords. However, in my new book, I have a chapter called The Blue Door. This book discusses an experience that I experienced it a lot. But the hero there is Yasser. His mother enters the ICU and she's on the verge of death, and he's waiting outside. And the blue door is the ICU door. He's sitting outside waiting. And the doctor tells him, call her brothers and sisters and prepare yourself tomorrow. we'll keep her plugged to the machine till tomorrow morning. And then you have to be ready to the funeral. For the funeral. And the long night starts. He gets a message, this Yasser, from Dubai. The Prophet Muhammad, and here I quote, treat your sick people with charity, be good to others. So he goes to, Yasser is a Lebanese person, and most Lebanese, they don't trust their banking system because of all the stuff that has been internationally known. So he saves his money at home. He goes and he takes out his money. He calls people and he tells them, distribute it to those who are in need. And he comes back to the hospital the next day. The doctor opens the blue door and he apologizes, telling him, I'm sorry that I told you what I told you yesterday. However, something occurred at night, which is something changed. Her lungs went back to normal functioning. We don't know why, medically unexplained. And we disconnected, we unplugged her from the machine because she can breathe alone by herself. So, all good. So when Yasser, and the title of the second chapter, I don't believe in miracles, because he is from a specific environment, has its own values, own set of values. He took his money out, his mother became better. So he believes that his act led to that. And also because Yasser is a person of science, not just signs, he said, if I'm going to give people money, my mother is going to get better. What's the link between the two actions, or the action and the result here? I set on Instagram this question. I posted on Instagram. Do you believe that giving to those who are more in need of you, more deserving, would that protect you from illnesses or help you get better? More than 95% of people, they believe. So they know innately that this, such an abstract concept that would help in recovery, which is very physical, it's tangible. So the intangible is related big time to the tangible. So if you ask in any place in the world, in any culture, you would see that the graph would be opposites. The spirituality is way down the ladder. Somehow we are the only part of the world that still views things from this perspective. And this is a knowledge that we have it innately. And we are going to open up to other knowledges. We don't need to forget our own knowledge. What do we know? And how do we think? What are the mindsets, our mindsets? And stemming and launching from all of those, then we can share what we know, knowledge, with others. I don't think I need to interpret that.
شكرا جزيلا. حدا عنده سؤال؟
Any questions?
I'm on time. بعد في دقيقة. تفضل. ما سمعت عفوا. أهلا وسهلا تشرفنا.
Kindly use the microphone for interpreting. Mr. Jamal bin Huwairab is the specialist. Sit with him and he is going to tell you knowledge from A to Z. It's not what I would like to dig deeper and stuff. What I'm interested in is the behavior that is connected to a certain knowledge. So because I'm a behavioralist. Thank you. Kindly use the microphone for interpreting.
كثير.
شكرا دكتور تكلمت على الوعي.
Thank you, doctor. You touched upon awareness, and this is the third time that I have attended you, and we were honored to host you in Saudi Arabia. The collective awareness. How would you how would you connect this important narrative that you've important, this valuable narrative, to the collective awareness? So what emphasizes them? What catalyzes them? Collective awareness. It has a lot of factors that build it. And generally speaking, it's so intrinsic and innate that it becomes the mindset of the collective. From the upbringing, from the way you've been raised, from your home, from the mother, and from the role model, etc., etc. And because human beings are a social creature, bonding, even collective awareness is a form of bonding. When I have collective awareness together with my environment, I feel that I tend to belong to this group. So the impacts on collective awareness, media, writing, and discussions like this one. Collective awareness are spaces. The more you bring this conversation to society and you give them the room, sometimes the scientific space or an artistic one or a media one, the more this collective awareness grows and increases. However, collective awareness is not an easy, in an intent, methodological way to be manipulated. It's harder than that. You can manage it superficially. However, to change its core, it requires years of effort. Thank you so very much. It's been a pleasure. Thank you so very much. Thank you.
يعطيكم ألف عافية.
God bless you all. God bless you all for staying so late. Thank you.